folks. Welcome to the very, very first episode of the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast of Worldwide Wrestling. I am your host, Caleb DeJarnette, but I'm not the only host, because I am a co-host.
My name is Jeremy Robinson. I'm a co-host. I'm giving Caleb the lead because he knows more than I do about this stuff, even though he's younger than I am. So anyway, without further ado, what's first on the agenda?
Well, I'll just kind of go through, tell everybody who's listening what we want. You know, we're both lifelong wrestling fans, and both over the past year, we've both kind of rekindled our love and interest in wrestling. About last June or July, I just got really back into wrestling, and just out of nowhere, rented one of the video games, and kind of just, I just kind of missed that part of my childhood, you know, growing up in the Attitude Era with The Rock and Stone Cold, and that was kind of the golden age of wrestling, you know, to me. And, because I haven't watched wrestling since, like, 2006, and, off and on just catching stuff, like when Rock came back, 2011, 2013, I kind of got back into that, a little bit, just because it's The Rock, you know, he comes back to wrestling, how can you not come back and watch it when The Rock comes back to wrestling, so, that's, about it, you know, we're just two guys who really like wrestling and have really kind of rediscovered our love for it, and just, you know, we talk about it a lot, we're both have WWE Network, so we just have unlimited access into the archives, and we can watch whatever. I know, Jeremy, you went back and started watching some early Raws and stuff.
Yeah, since I grew up with both WWE and WCW.
As did I, yep.
And I really enjoyed the WWE, WWF at the time, back in the day. But when WCW came on my TV, there were characters that WWF didn't have, and I thought the storylines were so much cooler and so much better. And so I fell in love with guys like Sting and even Rey Mysterio back in the day when he was in WCW. The guys who were like titans, Ric Flair. These guys. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
so, like, I fell in love with the WCW. And so what I've done is I've gone back and started when WCW started Nitro in 95. And I watched from the first Nitro to the end of the year of 95. And now I'm going back through the Raws from that same time when Nitro started, the 95 Raw on. And so that's been an eye-opening experience because, you know, when we watched wrestling as kids, we were like, oh, man, those guys were really great. Oh, that wrestling is really, really good. And we watch it now, it's like, wow, this isn't as good as I remember. Because you have guys like Zayn and Owens who are just going nuts. You see stuff from those guys, and you're just like, how can the old wrestling ever it can't take the place of this newer generation, because this new generation loves the craft. They love what they're doing, and it's really, really awesome seeing that.
Yeah, it's cool with guys like, you know, Dolph Ziggler also, and AJ Styles, a big one. And, even though I haven't seen very, very much NXT, I know you've seen a lot more than I have. My NXT experience is very, very minimal compared to yours. I've just seen some stuff here and there, like very, very little stuff. But, even Finn Balor, who's very, very high-flying and stuff like that, You see guys who are kind of, technical wrestlers at the same time as being high flyers. And that's like a whole new wave now of guys, like you said, like with Sami Zayn, and even though Kevin Owens, even though he's a bigger fellow like us, he can do some pretty crazy stuff that you're like, how did he do that? Exactly. And Ziggler, we used to hate Dolph Ziggler just because he was always a jerk, he was always a heel, and then, over the past year or so, we've both just kind of been kind of like, you know what? I like Dolph Ziggler now and stuff.
He's a workhorse.
He is.
That's one thing I respect him about, because I didn't see him as a heel. I came back in March of this year, and all of Dolph Ziggler's matches were as if he was training and lifting up the newer guys coming in, and so that I respect about Dolph. And so yeah, you're right. All these older guys by everybody else's standards, my standards, since like I said, I started back in March. I didn't know these guys. These guys who have been in WWE for years now. I'm getting to experience in a whole new light, and it has, since March, my love for wrestling has rekindled. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and there's been all kinds of crazy stuff going on this year with injuries, with title changes, with comebacks, with this past year, you know, um, going back last year to WrestleMania where Seth Rollins cashed in the main event, to steal the win from Roman Reigns against Brock Lesnar. It seems like ever since that happened, wrestling was kind of um, had this sense of uncertainty to it. Had this sense of like on any given night, something crazy like that could happen, and that's why the on What Culture Wrestling, which is an amazing web series on YouTube. If anybody listening to this knows about that, or you don't, they do amazing stuff with wrestling, and I think they kind of inspired us a little bit to do this because they cover a lot of awesome stuff. So go check them out too; they're pretty rad. They talked about how the Money in the Bank briefcase for the contract for any time, anywhere for the WWE Championship, it's essentially a get out of storyline free card. Because if there's a storyline that's not going so well, you can just have whoever's Mr. Money in the Bank cash it in, and then at least change the storyline, kind of veer the storyline into a way that you don't like, and
or if someone gets caught, with drugs, like this year.
Yeah, like this year, what happened?
Don't get me wrong. I hated Dean Ambrose when I started watching, but now I love Dean Ambrose, and so I would love to see him be a champion, until next year. However, the only reason why, maybe I shouldn't, but I'm assuming the only reason why he is champion is because of the scandal with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, it's very odd. Just kind of piggybacking off that a little bit. When the Shield was first introduced, I didn't find out about just because I wasn't really paying attention to wrestling really until I heard about the Undertaker's streak. I heard about the Undertaker's streak being broken 2 years ago at WrestleMania by Brock Lesnar, and I was like, huh, like that's crazy. And then I was like Roman Reigns and the Shield, like who are these guys? Like the Shield, like that's Marvel. Like what's going on? Like I was okay. And then I read about them and I was just like, what? So they're like they're like hitmen or something like that. They like wear like tactical SWAT gear and stuff like that or whatever. I was like, huh, that's kind of interesting. That's very different. We haven't seen guys who just like come from the crowd, come down the stairs, jump in the ring, knock the crap out of whoever, they see fit, and then leave. I mean, like think of back all the great stables, like the NWO, the Four Horsemen, D Generation X. We hadn't seen anything quite like that and stuff, and then
maybe except for Sting in the NWO days, but it was just like he was attacking NWO and that's it.
Yeah, it was.
Whereas Shield had a purpose; they were attacking for people for a reason.
Yeah, and so Jeremy, he said he's been going back through watching Nitro and Raw in the mid '90s, and I went back to witness in person for the first time the whole evolution of the Shield and then their demise essentially. And I kind of got interested in that, and I was like, that's really that seems like a really cool group. Like all these guys seem very they seem like really cool characters. Seth Rollins was sort of the conniving one, sort of the guy who was like plotting everything. Dean Ambrose was like the leader, who was the most vocal of the group. He was always front and center. And then Roman Reigns was like the silent, quiet, strong guy. Sort of the muscle, the bouncer, kind of, if you will. So the Shield was really, really cool. And then now, since they have broken up, it's been 2 years since the Shield dissolved. These guys have all become huge stars in their own rights as singles competitors, and I kind of, together they were really, really good, and then now separately we can see which ones will make it. Even though I admit and will admit Seth Rollins is a really, really good heel, and he's a really, really good in-ring competitor. Like, he can do some really, really good stuff. I just flat out don't like him because he's a heel. He's like the new Triple H kind of.
Yes.
He's good at bringing heat toward himself. He really is.
Yeah, and you gotta hate the people who do that so well because they're such great actors in that realm. they do their job so well. And then you have situations like Roman Reigns where people hate him. And honestly, I believe for no reason. I like Roman Reigns. People who yell out, you can't wrestle, obviously has not watched his AJ Styles matches. Obviously has not watched.
Those were great matches.
Yeah, obviously, let's just say this. Hasn't watched him wrestle at all. If it's anybody's fault, it's the person who he's wrestling's fault for not helping him out. I think he can wrestle. Seth Rollins, he can wrestle. Dean Ambrose, he can scrap. All these three guys, WWE is placing on their, placing everything on their shoulders. I don't know why, because there's tons of great talent, and I think that might be the reason why they're getting ready to do the brand split again. I wasn't there for the first brand split, and so this is more exciting for me. I would love to see what happens, and so yeah.
Yeah, like I was just saying about Seth Rollins, like I don't like him just because he makes you hate him because he's that good of a heel, he's that good at what he does, and people talk about like I like Roman Reigns too, like I'm a really big fan of him. I mean, even if it's like, oh, he's not that great on the mic, well, it's like it's not necessary for his character to be great on the mic, so I don't know why they should just make him kind of like like I honestly think turn him maybe not into a heel full on, but it kind of make him kind of go, dark side on everybody. Make him kind of go a little, where you don't know what he is. Make him kind of morally ambiguous. Kind of maybe do kind of a Sting, 1996 thing where he kind of went all pro on people. Just make him just kind of like a very, just have him come out of nowhere and just spear somebody.
Yeah, like a lone wolf in the vein of the Shield. Definitely, he should be, like a lone wolf guy who's going and he sees something wrong and he goes and corrects it. That's not a bad idea. I was listening to some other podcasts and some other things saying that maybe Seth Rollins would be a better, I guess now the term is in-betweener, guy who may not be good, may not be bad. But the reality is you see him being a bad guy and that fits for him.
It does.
The in-betweener maybe with Dean, but I think Dean just has a lovable personality.
He does. He's kind of like Deadpool. He's a lot. He's like a wrestler. He's like he's kind of like Deadpool in that he cracks jokes. He's funny, but at the same time he'll just burst into action at the drop of a hat and knock some heads in.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of, and I know they did that whole thing with Cactus Jack and Terry Funk, but he reminds me more of like an in between of a Terry Funk or a combination of Terry Funk and Raven. He's got that mysterious part about him, but yet when he is in action, he does what he does well.
Yeah, I really like Dean Ambrose. He's very, very like he's the guy who's of those three guys. Like Seth is probably the best at in-ring stuff. Roman's probably the best one at like being like a heavy hitter, kind of like because. See guys like Goldberg, you see guys like Edge who do spears. Like, I'm not even close to kidding when I say this. I have not seen somebody sell such gut-wrenchingly good spears as Roman Reigns. Like, when he spears people, they look like they hurt.
Yeah.
And like, I always thought the spear was kind of a boring move. It was just like, oh, you're just, but the way that people react to it and the way he just charges full force and like the way it impacts, like. Yeah, it looks like it hurts. He's very good at that.
In the spots that they have had with the spear, like you said, you always thought that the spear was a boring move. Especially, I mean, I love Goldberg. I still
me too.
do.
Yeah.
And I love his spear. His spear is my favorite spear. However, when they're able to take the spear and do different spots, like the Seth Rollins Reigns fight. When he gets when Roman tries to spear Rollins, and he turns it into the pedigree.
Yeah,
it's like never would I've thought that the spear would have gotten out of like that.
Yeah. I mean, somebody who hates Seth Rollins like me, even I was like, dude, I'll hand that to that was awesome. Like the way they did that was pretty good. I mean, I guess because he's kind of Triple H's protege and the curb stomp has been kind of outlawed, I guess, or something. He's kind of adopting the pedigree as his move now since he's like Triple H's, minion, his protege, whatever you want to call him. So, I was like, oh, he's just doing the pedigree, like, yeah, but then, yeah, that spot was totally awesome. Like, I was just like, that was awesome. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that was really, really good, really well done. And like, I showed you the match several months ago of the Hell in a Cell match between Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view from this past October. That was a really good match. If any of you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out on WWE Network or DailyMotion.com has it up on there, I think. It's a really good match. It's got some really good spots. There's not too many lulls in it. Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns work really, really well together. Not as well as Roman and AJ ultimately would, but they work really, really well together just because their characters are very different and their movesets are very different. But for some reason, they accommodate each other really well. And I showed you that match just because I saw it. And I was like, oh, that match was so good. I gotta show this to Jay. Like, he's gonna think it's awesome. I was like, Jeremy, check out this match. It's really awesome. And you were just like, at the end of it, you're just not a bad match, not at all. Like, and just the way they did some spears in that, they did a thing where they were fighting on the apron, and then Roman had set up a table, or maybe it might have been Bray. I can't remember. One of them set up a table in the corner, and then Roman spears Bray off of the apron right onto the table in the corner, and it hurts to look at just because the impact of the spear and then them both falling on the table, it looks like it hurt. But like stuff like that, finding new inventive ways to do the spear and stuff, it's really cool. So yeah, that is our take, I guess, on the members of the Shield. They're the three biggest stars right now. And like talking about, he touched on it a little bit, and I'm gonna throw in my 2 cents because I feel like I'm the Roman Reigns fanboy, quote unquote, if you will, around here. I feel like I'm the only person who dislikes Seth Rollins and likes Roman Reigns, but he's a very. It seems like they're just trying to figure out what to do with him. Like, I feel like it should just be kind of a thing where if he feels like he should do something, he should be like, hey, maybe do this with my character or this or this. It's like we've seen the Shield going back, seeing the Shield since I've been watching that whole story arc. They were really good as heels. Pardon me. And I think Roman can be an awesome heel. I think he would be awesome, but I think it's not necessary for him to. Like you and me were just talking about, make him go a lone wolf or kind of go a little Sting on him or do something, But he cuts it like. First of all, he looks cool. Like just the look of him, he looks like a very, very cool, intimidating presence.
Yep.
And I think if you kind of go back to the Shield a little bit and maybe some sprinkles of Goldberg in there, maybe a little side of 1997 Sting, and then a lot of the Shield, kind of make him kind of like a guy who's like fighting for a lost cause. Like the Shield used to stand for justice, and I'm gonna do that, or something. Just have him go out and just beat people up, and just kind of so you're like, well, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Just like he's something. Just do something. Try to find a good balance for him, because it seems like they were kind of pushing him as the next big star, but a lot of people really, really big fans of Dean Ambrose, and I am too, and so they're like, and I'm glad that Dean Ambrose is the champion now. That was really cool. But
he deserved it. I mean, when I got back in, just it seemed like match after match after match, they made him lose, and it's like, come on, guys, this guy is a good talent. He's great on the mic.
Yeah.
People love him. Give him the championship, and it just seemed like that was never going to happen. And then when he cashed it in, it was like, that's a cool moment. That's a great moment. People have wanted to see the Shield, the Fatal 3-Way. They wanted to see that for a long, long time. I don't know how it's going to come out. I don't know who's going to be the champion. I would like to see Dean keep it, but the reality is, any one of those guys might get the push. Rumor has it that that Vince has kind of gotten cold on Roman Reigns because of this incident that happened. But I hope he doesn't, because this kind of fight can lead further on. And I would love to see Roman just stop talking. After this thing, he is so angry, he just stops talking, and he starts taking, like you said, Caleb, taking things in his own hands, start taking justice in his own hands. Let him be Shield by himself. How awesome would that be to see this guy just stop talking and just start doing the business that he has.
I came up with this really cool idea, and WWE, if you're listening, feel free to use it just as long as I get some credit. I kind of had the same idea. Either A, have Roman reform Shield with the Shield with 2 other people, but then I was like, nah, just have him, like you said, kind of go lone wolf, and I was thinking like have him use like his themed entrance, his entrance theme rather, is a remixed version of the Shield's theme, entrance theme. And it's a really awesome theme, like you said. It's very, very theme songy. It is, and like when I listen to that song when I work out or when I'm biking, like it gets me pumped up and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's really awesome. But you know, go back to using the original theme for the Shield, and like you know, the Titantron was you know, they were the Hounds of Justice. That was their nickname, and so it would show the 3-headed dog from
Cerberus.
Cerberus. Thank you. You know, the 3-headed dog from Greek mythology, Cerberus. You know, come into the frame and stuff, and you know, it was like it was really, really cool looking. But I was like, do that, and then like the 2 heads on the side die, and then it's just the one in the middle.
Huh.
You know,
that's a cool concept.
And then you know, so he's just kind of the Shield all by himself, and he just, you know, he doesn't care about, you know, being him and Dean Ambrose being bros. He doesn't care about, you know, this or that or the third. Like he just cares about making other people hurt.
Yeah, and I definitely think Battlegrounds is a great opportunity for that. If this idea is going to happen, he needs to lose Battlegrounds, and something needs to happen. Somebody either needs to come out during the match and, you know, mess with him. I honestly don't know. I've been trying to think as we're talking here who would be a good feud for him to start up. And there's all these rumors. I mean, again, with this draft that's coming up this coming Tuesday, who knows what's going to happen? There's rumors that Goldberg might come in. How crazy would it be to have a Reigns Goldberg
Battle of the Spears?
Spears. That would be a cool match.
That would be.
I don't know if that'll ever happen, but it would be cool. Either a cool match or they team up or something. And now that Rhino's back in NXT, I mean, he could even come over and be a part of that Shield.
You know, there was a fatal 4-way match to determine the #1 contender for the title after WrestleMania, and you know, it was Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, and AJ Styles. AJ Styles ultimately won it, and then had a pretty good feud, I think, with Roman that culminated in 2 very, very good matches, which we will get to later, because we're going to do our favorite moments and matches later on. But you know, I was kind of wanting Kevin Owens to win because I wanted to see how that would play out. Yeah, their movesets, their characters, you know, talking smack back and forth or whatever. You know, I would have wanted, you know, would Sami Zayn get involved? You know, I was like, oh, maybe Seth will come back, and then they'll do a Seth and Owens versus Reigns and Zayn, stuff like that, which they actually kind of did, but with Dean Ambrose and Zayn against Rollins and Owens on SmackDown this past week, which was a very, very good match, very entertaining. So I think that I would like to see that, possibly see him. You know, maybe that could be his appetizer, quote unquote. You know, feud with Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens rather, and then just see something really crazy, like maybe see Undertaker come back for a lengthy run and see what him and Reigns could do, like the old school versus the new school. You know, like, you know, see something really, really different in that, because it would be this guy who's been burned. You know, he's the lone wolf and he's mad. And he just wants to, and then, you know, this kind of dark supernatural kind of lone wolf also. You know, I think that could be a really interesting one.
That would be interesting. Even if you were to team up Reigns and Undertaker to go against some of the newer blood. I know it sounds like the American Alpha is coming up, and so that would be really, really cool. A cool match set to have, you know, Undertaker and Roman Reigns versus the American Alpha, or, you know, whoever else. It doesn't really matter, but it would be cool to see that that kind of dynamic. Even if they were wrestling each other, you know, they're both angry at the world, so, you know, one last match for the Undertaker is against Roman Reigns, and because Undertaker's not going to be around forever, which is sad for a guy who has watched wrestling since Undertaker came in to the wrestling. It's sad to see guys like that go because he's wrestling. He is wrestling.
He is, and he's like, even though I've never been a big fan of Undertaker, I've always respected him.
Yeah.
And I've never hated him. I've just, me being the loudmouth, smart aleck, attention seeker that I always have, gravitated more towards The Rock and Stone Cold, because they were the guys who were getting the loudest pops. They were the guys who were the most vocal. They were, but I always respected Undertaker, and I'm sure when that day comes, and it probably will be soon, because he's I just turned 50, I think.
If it hasn't already, I mean, I know that there's rumors that he doesn't want to wrestle anymore, so who knows?
Yeah,
maybe that was the last match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, the era of Undertaker may be over.
It's sad that would be his last, because nobody really knows if that's his last. It'd be nice to just go out and say, this is Undertaker's last match. This is who he's wrestling. We're not going to see him again. Let's cry. Let's take a little bit of cry, because he's one of the last bastions of the old school. Kane is another bastion of the old school. So is Triple H. Both of those guys have been in the league almost about the same time, with Kane being Isaac Yankem. Those were silly days.
I don't even remember that.
Well, yeah, it was. I don't remember when these came in, but when I was watching the 95 era, there's Isaac Yankem. I was like, oh yeah, I've never seen him wrestle as anything but Kane before, and so yeah, it's a sad day when Undertaker finally retires.
It will be. It will be, but I think I'm really interested to see. We could just talk. We're going to talk about this at the tail end of the show, but we can just talk about it right now since we're kind of in deep combo about the feuds and stuff we might like to see. But Brock Lesnar, it was announced. I'm a huge Randy Orton fan. When I was, when he came around, I think in 2003 or something like that, I was kind of starting to begin to fizzle out of my wrestling because Stone Cold was retired, and The Rock was not a part-timer, but he wasn't making frequent appearances, and so
all the good wrestling was pretty much over.
All the good wrestling was
all
kind of over.
All the great storylines were over.
WCW was 2 years dead, so Sting I don't think was with TNA yet. I think he was, and I watched some TNA in junior high and high school on Spike TV every so often, but not a whole lot, and but I'm a huge Randy Orton fan. His the business is in his blood. He's a third generation superstar, and he's really, really good in the ring. He can do some pretty cool stuff. One of my favorite matches of all time is another match I showed you, the no holds barred match with him and Cactus Jack, where he tries to RKO Cactus Jack, and then Mick Foley just pushes him off, and then he just falls back first right on all these thumbtacks, and it was just like ooh when you see it. But it was a good match. But one of my favorite matches also was between him and Undertaker in 2005 at WrestleMania, and it's it's a relatively short for an Undertaker match. It's like 14 minutes or something like that, but it's really, really good. And it has one of the coolest RKOs I've seen, where Randy Orton is about to get chokeslammed by Undertaker, and Undertaker lifts him up, and Orton counters that into an RKO, and it just looks like it hurts. Like it's because every so often somebody will kind of botch going down on the RKO, when you're going down, and it looks like it hurts. And this is one of those times where it's like stuff, and so. He's been out of action for quite a while, and he's kind of had a very interesting character arc. He was the legend killer, this sort of over the top, in your face, loud, obnoxious heel, and usually I don't like heels like that, but for some reason with Randy Orton it was cool. I think it was just because he was a younger guy, he had a lot of charisma, and he was beating all these old overrated veterans and stuff like that as part of the legend killer persona and stuff. And I thought that was really cool. And then over time, he evolved into the Viper. He kind of became, I kind of liken him to this generation's Stone Cold or something. The RKO is kind of similar to the Stunner, and he was this pandering kind of babyface for a while, and then people didn't really gravitate towards that, and his legend killer gimmick kind of ran stale. So he kind of went darker and more ruthless with his character, and then he became the Viper, and that's the Randy Orton most people remember today. Not a lot of people remember the legend killer phase just because the success he's had with being a heel again as the Viper, and I kind of a lot of people will say John Cena is very very Hulk Hogan, very just in terms of his popularity and his
moveset, because that dude can't wrestle.
Yeah.
You want to talk about can't wrestle, it's John Cena, and I shouldn't say that because I haven't watched much of John Cena, but but it's the people who he wrestles with that make him look good. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think either of us hate John Cena.
I don't hate John Cena.
Yeah.
I love John Cena.
I don't at all, but
as a person, the dude does a lot for a lot of different charities, a lot of different things. I mean, he had one of the funniest cameos on Parks and Recreation. Dunk take that whole thing. And so, as a person and as a persona, as an entertainer, I don't hate the man. I think the man's he seems to be a really cool guy. I don't like his wrestling. I don't like the five knuckle shuffle. I think that's stupid. But I also saw that I can't remember who I watched the other day who did it, and I'm like, okay, I can't complain anymore about John Cena doing it because that guy did it. And that's another thing is wrestling is constantly redoing all the stuff they've done. I was watching through the 95 one of the 95 Raws. Vince is still being commentator, which if you want to go back and listen to some good commentating, or whatever word you want to use, he's not bad. He's actually you can make fun of him, but he's actually not bad. But he actually said of Bob Backlund, lunatic fringe. And I had to rewind that and be like, in 95, maybe even earlier, Vince McMahon coined the term lunatic fringe way before Dean Ambrose. And it's like, okay, so now everything's being recycled. Like, wrestling is one big recycling bin. And I think that's what they're doing, what they do with a lot of these different things. But you were talking about Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no,
that was a little bit thing.
It's all right.
I hate Randy Orton. And the only reason why, it's not because of his wrestling. It's not because of who he is. It's because he reminds me of Lance Storm, and I hated Lance Storm.
Really? I had never heard this story before.
Yeah, Lance Storm, I hated watching that guy wrestle. He seemed so one-dimensional, and so, like I said, I've watched one or two things with Randy Orton because I wasn't into wrestling at the time. But every time I see Randy Orton, I think, man, that guy's modeling his look after Lance Storm, and man, do I hate Lance Storm. So, I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I understand. Like, it's funny, because I'm, I have that RKO Legend Killer shirt, and stuff like that. And me and a bunch of friends the other day were talking about wrestling and stuff like that because we were just saying our favorite wrestling catchphrases and whatnot and stuff. And this guy was like, "So who's the best wrestler ever?" Everybody always asks that question. And, it's always sparks fury and controversy among the group because there's always that one jerk who is always like, "Oh, it's John Cena, of course it is," and there's always
Hulk Hogan, like you said, because they are the same. They are the same wrestler. One does a leg drop, one does a punch drop. Let's just be honest, they're the same wrestler. But it's the same thing, right?
And they always say like, "Oh, it's John Cena," or "Oh, it's Hulk Hogan," and stuff like that. And I was just like, why does nobody ever bring up, some other, like it's like, getting a little tongue tied here. But I usually bring up, Sting is my all-time favorite because I started watching WCW in 97. That was when Sting was in his heyday, when he looked like the Crow and he was fighting NWO and stuff like that. Because I never liked Hulk Hogan, so Hollywood Hulk, it's like I didn't like him when he was a babyface, so I'm not gonna like him when he's a jerk heel. Be the leader of the NWO and stuff. And So I totally dug that. Sting is probably my all-time favorite, but as far as best ever, I mean, I would honestly say it's probably Rock or Stone Cold.
Yeah, I mean, wrestler or persona.
I guess just a combination, like moves that can get the crowd and you have a good persona. Like
that's crazy because even the Rock's moves are so lame. But and I think that's the reason where he got that whole electrifying thing, because his moves, even though they're lame, his facial expression, his body movement, that's what makes the Rock Bottom, which is a dumb move, and the People's Elbow amazing, because the People's Elbow is just like the five knuckle shuffle, but man, does the Rock have it.
His charisma makes the moves seem better than they are.
Exactly, and it's like that, and that's why we cheer. I think that's why you and I cheered when we were kids for the Rock, because even though they were lame moves, the dude had charisma. And so as far as persona, absolutely 100%, the Rock is the best.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody will even come that close to being that charismatic and be that much of a showman and coin so many catchphrases that some of them aren't even remembered.
Yeah.
Like The Rock means, like where he'd be like, you have 10 seconds, and The Rock means 10 seconds. Like, hardly anybody remembers that one,
Yeah, because everybody quotes The Rock, nobody quotes anybody else. I mean, yes, Hulk Hogan, he probably is as far as persona, he might be the second greatest personas in all of wrestling. But yeah, man, as far as wrestling, it's hard because you can't get past The Rock's ability to own the mic and own anybody else in the room.
Exactly.
I think Kevin Owens could get there. I think he will get there. I think, man, he's one of those guys I could listen to, and even if he screws up his lines, they're awesome because he'll come back with something else. But yeah, there's just not. I'm trying to think of best wrestlers, and I just can't. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and so and we were talking about that, and everybody's talking about that, and I had my RKO shirt on. Or, you like Randy Orton? I was like, yeah. Like, I never liked him. He was cocky. He was arrogant. He was a bad guy, and I was like, that's why I liked him. Like, usually I don't gravitate towards.
Did that person say who their favorite was?
I can't remember.
Okay, because I bet it was something like Triple H or somebody who was very, very cocky too, and it's like they forget.
Yeah.
Because they like.
Oh yeah, he was a. It wasn't his favorite, but I know he was a big Batista fan.
Okay, but
Batista was a bad guy at first, but he wasn't a bad guy very long.
He was a bad guy, but I wasn't around at that time,
yeah,
and I don't remember anything he said from anybody saying this is what Batista said. No offense, Batista, because you are an amazing Drax. Just to let you know.
Yeah. Your Batista bombs are pretty epic. Yeah, you were awesome in Guardians, but yeah, I mean, he not in a negative way, but yeah, he can sometimes kind of fade into the crowd of guys who aren't wrestling anymore, and he wasn't really in it that long. He came into wrestling very late, so
which is sad,
but because I always thought it would have been cool to see him and Rock go toe to toe because they're built very similarly. Their personas are very, very different, so it would have been cool to see how they played off and stuff. But anyways, we got way off track again.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Hey, that's what this podcast is for, to talk about wrestling, dude. So at least we're still talking about wrestling and not getting off track on other stuff. But
cars. No.
Yeah, cars. Let's talk about cars now. No, actually, speaking of cars, really quick. The Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast, he had Goldberg on for a 2-part episode. And it's like 2 1-hour-long episodes, and the second episode is them just walking around Goldberg's garage talking about cars, like different cars he has, and it's hilarious just because every car or motorcycle they go to, Stone Cold's just like, all right, now the tough question, will you take $15,000 for it? And Goldberg's just like, absolutely not, no. And it was very, very funny, so check that out. But Brock Lesnar, as we were talking about, he I was like, hope Randy Orton comes back, soon, because he's been out of action for a long time. He's had a history of shoulder problems, and he had shoulder surgery. If I remember correctly, he said the shoulder surgery he had is one that a lot of rugby players get done, and it's usually almost universally 100%. They don't have problems anymore, and they come back just as good as ever. So, hopefully he won't look rusty, because when John Cena came back, then he had that match with AJ Styles. John Cena looked rusty in that match with with AJ Styles. But, so I was talking to you about, and I was like, I always thought it would be cool, like, to have Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar have a match, because they've only wrestled once.
The day before, he's like, dude, I think that Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton should wrestle.
Yeah, and I was like, that would be cool. They're about to announce tomorrow on Thursday Night SmackDown. They're gonna announce Brock Lesnar's opponent for SummerSlam, and I was like, I bet it's Randy Orton. Like, I bet Randy Orton's gonna come back, and I bet it's gonna be Randy Orton. And sure enough, Thursday night.
Yeah, it was that night. You went home and I went home, and
yeah, I texted you. I was just like, did you hear about SummerSlam? Nailed it. Just because I was just like, holy cow, because it's, the Viper and the Beast are meeting finally, because they've only wrestled once ever in their entire career, and it was when Randy Orton was a rookie. Like, nobody knew who Randy Orton was. This was back in 2002, I think. It was when Brock was the next big hot thing, and then, Randy Orton was a rookie. Nobody really knew who he was, and so, yeah, I'm really excited for that. Can't wait to see how that'll go down.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. My thoughts on it are, I know that Brock is relatively close to being done with wrestling, and I don't want to go into the supposed stuff that happened yesterday or the day before, whatever it was.
With the UFC doping.
Yeah, UFC doping.
Yeah.
It was an off. What was it?
Out of competition.
Out of competition.
Test
or
something.
Because I'm assuming every competition they get tested.
Yeah.
So something happened. He had something in his system. I don't want to go into it, but my assumption is he wants to be out of wrestling. I don't know if he'll go back to UFC, especially after this. I know he wants to farm, and he wants to farm in Canada. And so I know it seems to be that one of the reasons for his UFC fight was to have enough money to have a bigger farm. And you know what, dude? You've paid your dues.
Yeah.
You were one of, outside of football, you were one of the craziest wrestlers, ultimate fighters ever.
Yeah.
And so
the Bo Jackson of combat sport.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so for that, you have my respect. I think he's going to lose to Randy Orton. Mostly because I think Randy Orton still has several years. He could probably have 5 or so years more on him. I don't know how old he is.
I think he's 35, 36.
Oh, gosh, he's a lot younger than I thought.
Yeah, he still has
he's got
maybe
10 20
10
years.
Yeah.
According to wrestling, he's got 50 years.
Yeah.
Dude could wrestle forever. So I think Brock is probably done, and so I think it'll continue that whole idea of legend killer, or he'll go out on top. But my guess is, I bet part of Vince's thing with him fighting UFC is that he would drop the match to Randy Orton.
Because
so that he can retire.
Yeah, because you and I were both really, really pumped and excited for the no holds barred street fight between Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were very, very pumped for that.
Yep.
They were building up all the great, having Chainsaw Charlie give his chainsaw to Dean, and then
it got hyped.
Cactus Jack gave him Barbie and all this crazy stuff. And there was that one bit, you and I were just rolling about it, talking, because it was hilarious when, I forgot who he was in a match with, but Brock Lesnar was in a match with somebody, and then Dean Ambrose music hits, and he's got a little red wagon, and he comes out in the ring and gets all the kendo sticks, the chainsaw, Barbie, the fire extinguisher, all this stuff, and puts it in the wagon, and then just takes off. And it was one of the funniest. He didn't say a word.
Nope.
He just did these funny expressions and just took it. It was absolutely awesome, and the match was really, really good up until the last 5 minutes when Brock just kind of went all Superman, and then I was like, what? Like, you were hyping this awesome finish, and then just one F5 onto all these chairs, and then Dean Ambrose is out like that. It was a match we both felt Brock Lesnar
should have lost.
Like, it's like, I thought the whole point of it being a no holds barred street fight was that so Dean would have a good reason, because he's probably like 100 pounds less than Brock Lesnar.
I mean, it got me psyched for a possible, I know they'll never do it, but it got me psyched for like a hardcore championship. But that match just fell flat, and sadly, because both of them are such great personalities, it's so fun to watch both of them wrestle, that it wasn't what we were hoping. Like, nothing was pretty much Sadly.
The first 12 minutes of that match, like, it was
Yeah,
really
it was
good. Like, the part where, he picks up Dean, then all of a sudden Dean sprays the fire extinguisher in Brock's face.
Yeah,
and that was hilarious. And yeah, like you said, it just fell flat. And so I feel like with that, and then with Brock not being on WWE at all ever since then, I don't think.
Not since WrestleMania.
Yeah, not since WrestleMania.
Because he was training.
Yeah, he was probably training for the UFC fight as soon as that got over. I just feel like, he's just going to, he's not going to be on TV for several months, and then he's just going to show up, win a dumb match, and then walk away. It's like, yeah, so I think he'll lose too. I feel like because of his moveset, because he's so cutthroat, and because his character is very vicious and stuff, and he can get into people's heads. I think Randy Orton is one of the few people who could believably beat Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Yep. No. Roman, because he's so strong in his spirit, he could possibly beat him. And then, Kane and Taker, because they're so big, they could. But, other than that, I don't really know who could beat Brock, so I think it's...
Yeah, there's nobody. I mean, in all reality, you're right. I think Roman
and just for the record, we know that wrestling's scripted.
What? No, it's not. Yeah, we know that. If we didn't say that earlier.
Yeah.
I'm sure we did in some vein. But yeah, I don't either. AJ Styles could not wrestle. Could not wrestle.
Like, it might be a good match for 5 minutes, but it just wouldn't.
Even the Wyatts could. I mean, no. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think. Hopefully it'll be a good match. Hopefully have some good spots.
Agreed.
Love to see Paul Heyman back. He's always fun.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
I would love to.
I would love to see him as. Sorry, we're going to the whole GMs of each. I would love to see Paul Heyman as a GM again.
That would be cool too. That would be awesome. And I wonder if Brock, if in fact you are right, and Brock does decide to retire, at least for now, or just maybe just go back to UFC, or like you said, just kind of farm for a while and just chill. I'd love to see what Paul Heyman would do. Maybe see him manage somebody else. That'd be fun. Because he managed CM Punk during his championship reign before Brock came back and all that. But
and we also haven't seen Paul's has been going around doing some talks, and I don't know what he has said in those. So maybe you guys know what he has said, what he's going to do, possibly after Brock Lesnar. But it would be nice. I've always liked Paul Heyman.
Yeah, me too.
Even when he was in WCW, I loved him, and I loved the whole ECW thing. It's sad to see what WWE did with it. I've always liked Paul Heyman. I've liked his personalities. Even the dude is funny. Watching the What Culture interview with him,
that was good.
The dude is just absolutely hysterical, and he is the entertainment value that WWE needs. And so I hope that they can work something out. I don't know with who. Maybe even Randy Orton afterwards.
Yeah,
like he screws over Brock Lesnar, and
that'd be interesting.
Randy Orton and Paul Heyman go. And
that would be very interesting to see. That would be crazy, but.
And just also know this is all speculation. A lot of it's speculation built on things that we think and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're not like insiders. We're not hiding in the WWE vents at Greenwich, Connecticut, or wherever it is.
Yeah, I mean we read the rumors. We read
Stanford. I don't know.
Stanford, in Connecticut.
Somewhere in Connecticut.
No idea why it's in Connecticut.
Yeah, we're not hiding in the ventilation ducts of the WWE headquarters. Bringing you guys the scoop. This is just speculation of stuff that might happen.
Just stuff that we love, and we love talking about this.
Yeah,
stuff.
we do, and so SummerSlam. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see Randy Orton come back. He's gonna come back for Battleground, which if you want to get into that really quick, we can get into that really quick. He's gonna come back for a special edition of Jericho's highlight reel, which is cool. I'm glad to see Jericho, back in WWE. He had a pretty good rivalry with Randy Orton, Dean Ambrose,
and AJ Styles too,
and AJ Styles before that, which was good. So the highlight reel is coming to WWE Battleground, which is July 24th, and I can't wait to see that. That has some good matches on it, and so Randy Orton will make his return on that on the highlight reel, and so I'm really, really pumped for that. Can't wait to see him and Brock finally duke it out at SummerSlam. But let's get into Battleground, which is just like 10 days away.
Yeah, it's not. It's next week.
Yeah, a week from today. Yeah, a week from tonight. Yeah. So yeah. Some of the matches we got Zack Ryder battling Rusev for the U.S. Championship. I love Zack Ryder.
Yep.
I think he's fun. He had that awesome WrestleMania moment where he won an awesome.
Can we stop saying
match.
WrestleMania moment? I hate that statement. The reason why is because I had my WrestleMania moment. You know what, man? Go wrestle. Go. I don't care if you had WrestleMania moment or whatever. Zack Ryder is one of the most.
I just meant he had an awesome moment at WrestleMania.
Not how everybody else is calling it WrestleMania moment. I hate that term.
Yeah, I don't mean it like that.
Okay. Well, anyway, he did have an awesome moment
at WrestleMania. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Sorry. Everybody else is anyway.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder is the most underutilized performer outside of Dolph Ziggler in the WWE. This dude could wrestle, and I hope that they bring Mojo Rawley up from the NXT and they just be the Hype Bros.
That would be cool.
Because
that would be cool.
They're fun to watch. They have the energy together. Not that I don't want Zack to win the U.S. Championship. It's not going to happen because Rusev. They're going to push Rusev. Yeah. And I think Rusev will be the champion for quite a while, which I'm fine with. I'm glad they separated him from the League of Nations. I'm glad they got done with that.
Yeah, that was kind of they didn't really do much the League of Nations. So yeah, I'm glad that's over with too.
So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Zack's not going to win that vote.
Yeah, I'd like to because I like Zack Ryder.
Me too.
And, you brought it up to me, and now I can't stop thinking about. You said he's like Macho Man reincarnate. Because the beard, the way he's built, his get up,
his personality.
Everything is. Seriously, I was just like, wow, he should totally play Macho Man in a movie. Make it happen.
Yeah.
But as much as I would like to see him win the title, I don't think he will. Which stinks because I feel like he's kind of become a punchline a little bit, and he shouldn't be.
Sadly,
because he is very good. Yes. He's very good in the ring, and the Rough Rider's kind of it's a cool move. It's one that at least I haven't really seen anything like.
Yeah.
It's one that you're kind of like, whoa, that's kind of neat. It's kind of a different move when you don't see a whole lot, and yeah, I would.
Rusev's gonna win.
Rusev's gonna win. I think they're kind of pushing him as probably the second biggest heel after Seth. I think they want him to be a big bad guy because the whole League of Nations, they all were really silly. They weren't really. They seemed like bumbling villains in like the 1960s Batman show with Adam West.
Absolutely.
They didn't seem like a force to be reckoned with. They didn't seem like these evil heels who were out to cause trouble and stuff like that. They just seemed bumbling. They were silly, and which stinks because all those guys equally, or separately rather, were really good at being heels.
Yeah.
And then they just put them together for some reason. It just came off as silly. So hopefully they can get this back on track with Rusev being a big bad guy again.
Yeah, and my favorite thing about Rusev is his character doesn't care, and so, oh my gosh, what he did. What was the last pay-per-view?
It was Money in the Bank, right?
That was the one on Father's Day, right?
Yeah.
Okay, when Rusev gets up and says the stuff about Father's Day, oh my gosh, he could get away with it because he's a heel.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff he says is just absolutely hilarious. On the 4th of July stuff, everything he does, you want to hate him, but it's so funny because he's right.
Yeah.
Dude's a beast.
And then probably the other big match, is 6. I don't know if it's just a 6-on-6 or if it's a 6-man tag, but it's Enzo, Big Cass, who are awesome, with John Cena going up against AJ Styles in the club.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it. I really wasn't. You and me were both kind of like, oh yeah, I actually like AJ Styles as a heel. Yeah, which is funny because I've seen him in interviews and saw him on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. He was on an episode of that and stuff, and he just seems like the nicest, most down to earth, guy ever. But he's really, really good at being a heel just because he seems like a jerk frat boy kind of. He almost seems like he could have been in DX.
Yeah, I think it's the hair.
It's the hair.
It's got to be the hair that makes him come off as a kind of a jerk.
Yeah, me and AJ Styles rock the same haircut.
Very, very, very close.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be an interesting fight, interesting match. And also, this is all after the brand split.
Yeah.
And so, how is that going to come in play at Battlegrounds? Like, is this going to be the last time that AJ wrestles with the club?
Yeah.
Or are they going to be together?
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
Is it going to be Enzo's last time wrestling with Big Cass?
Yeah.
Especially with when Enzo got hurt and Big Cass, in my opinion, proved he could be singles competition material.
That is true.
That dude, and I think Enzo could too, especially with the Cruiserweight Championship coming. It is coming, if you guys don't realize what they're doing.
Yeah, the Cruiserweight Classic, come on. They're going to do a Cruiserweight title, probably.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because that is one of my favorite titles in all of wrestling, outside of the Intercontinental, which is my favorite. Cruiserweight is amazing because these guys go nuts. And so I could see them pushing Enzo for the Cruiserweight if they split them. I don't want them to split them.
Yeah.
But this is that match at Battlegrounds that we're going to be like, is this the last time they're going to wrestle together?
Yeah.
Type stuff.
Because, with this brand split, you and me were talking about, I wonder how they're going to do it. Are they going to have a separate, are they going to do, singles competitors and then women's division and then tag teams? It's like, but then they made the mention of like, because of the brand split, and the draft, this could be the last time we see the New Day together. It's like, oh man, there's a possibility that the tag teams could get split up, which, for the sake of a storyline, if they wanted to break a tag team up for a short amount of time, I'd be okay with. But like you said with Enzo and Cass, like when Enzo was out with his concussion, you were absolutely right. You and me both agreed on that and talked like, yeah, like I don't want Enzo and Cass to ever break up because they're so well together. But Cass proved that he could carry himself like 100%.
Awesome. He was great.
I mean, he was. So so I look forward to that just because Enzo and AJ, they had a match on Raw or SmackDown. I can't remember which one. It was over the past week and a half, I think, and it was pretty good. So I think they'll match up nicely. I like the Luke Gallows and Big Cass kind of being both big guys who kind of match up. So I look forward to seeing it. Hopefully, it's not a letdown.
I don't think. I think you're. Are you saying that because John Cena's in the match? Yeah, I mean maybe, but even Gallows and Anderson haven't been too impressive.
Yeah.
AJ has impressed me. Enzo and Cass have impressed me, and so we'll see. I've never really seen AJ wrestle with the two guys, and so maybe that's going to be amazing. Either way, it's going to be fun because Enzo and Cass. Enzo on the mic. Yeah. That dude could talk all day long, and I would pay just to listen to him talk. That dude's amazing.
Yeah, like you talked about when they first made their debut on the Raw right after WrestleMania this year. I remember you saying like, because I think I was gone or I had something going on and I couldn't see it, and you were like, dude, some of the best mic skills I've ever seen probably since Rock left, and like I watched it, I was just like, wow, these guys are like they're very, very clever.
Mm-hmm.
They seem very, very smart. They're very witty and stuff. And like on the July 4th episode of Raw, I don't know if you saw that one yet. I think you did, right?
Yeah.
Where Enzo listed all 44 presidents in that promo.
The sad thing about that is I watch it on Hulu.
Oh, so they cut that out.
And so yeah, Hulu cuts out half of the show, and that's one of the moments they cut out. So I'll have to go back and
that stinks. Yeah, you have to try to find that because it's pretty awesome. But yeah, he's just naming off all 44 presidents. He names them off like 4 or 5 at a time, something like that. And Cass the whole time is just staring at him like in amazement. He's like, whoa, he's like, I don't know how I'm going to top that, so I'm just not even going to try, and it was very, very funny. So, yeah.
They're amazing together. I hope they do keep it together. This whole draft thing is going to throw that match off. It's going to throw I think it's going to throw a bunch of stuff off.
And which brings another thing of the brand split. Back when they had the brand split in mid to late 2000s, they had brand-specific pay-per-views. Besides WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and I think Survivor Series were the big ones where they had Raw and SmackDown. Okay, so they used to have the brand specific pay-per-views besides those big four, I think, and so I hope they don't do that. I hope they have,
but they will.
They probably will. I hope they don't, just because.
I don't think because wrestling is so recycling. It's about recycling everything, and this is just another recycling moment. They will probably do too. I have my thoughts about it, but they should keep all the champions floating both, and then go from there. But anyway,
so yeah, all right. Last match, the main event of Battleground. Then we will jump right into our WWE mock drafts.
Sweet.
And then from there, we will jump real quick into our
top 5 matches,
top matches and moments. So okay. What were we just going to talk? Oh yeah, the main event. Battleground. Lost my train of thought. So yeah, it's all 3 members of the Shield competing for the WWE Championship in a triple threat match. I'm really, really excited for this. I think this will probably end up being the best match. I think it'll probably end like just me speculating. Like I could see it being like like Roman spearing Rollins, and then Ambrose hitting Roman with the dirty deeds and then pinning them both at the same time. Like I think that would be funny to do a double pin. I thought that'd be kind of cool. To see him just grab both their legs and then lean back on both of them, like that'd be kind of funny to see him double pin them. Like that would be kind of fun. That'd be fun. But yeah, I'm really excited for this match.
Yeah, it's hard telling who they're gonna want, who WWE is gonna want to push. My thought is they're probably not going to want to push Reigns right now because of what had happened. Maybe Rollins. I am hoping for Dean.
Me too.
I'm hoping they push Dean because he is hilarious, and he is a good. I think he's a funny champion right now. I think it's what WWE needs. I think I'm fine with him being the face of the company. I don't want either Reigns or Rollins to be the face of the company. They need someone who's the good guy to be the face, and Dean is the closest they've got so far. I really think.
Yeah, I would. I want Ambrose 2-2. I think Rollins had his big run this past year. So I don't think it's time to put the belt back on him. And Reigns, even though you and me both really like Roman, I think with this incident they might want to wait a little while before putting it back on him and maybe try to figure him out and get him over with the crowd before they put the title on him. Because at WrestleMania when Triple H came out, they cheered Triple H and they booed Roman. You and me were like, that is just not right, because nobody ever cheers Triple H ever. Like that was messed up. So
it was. I felt like I was in an alternate universe.
Yeah, like
where Triple H has never been a jerk. Has never been the guy I've hated.
Yeah.
And it's like, what did I just step into at WrestleMania?
Very odd. Although the crowd.
I'm never going to Dallas.
Although the crowd did love it when Roman accidentally speared Stephanie. They did
really,
love that. They did love that.
That was a good spot.
That
Stephanie,
was.
Props for that, because that was a good spot.
So, figure out Roman and get him over with the crowd and then put it on him later. I'm sure he'll have another reign. I'm sure they're not just going to cash him out and just like, now we're done. But yeah, I hope Dean retains it. I hope he holds it for a while. Maybe he, holds it until next WrestleMania, or something. But yeah, I want him to hold it for a good amount of time and, defend it. Maybe see him bury John Cena instead of John Cena burying someone else, or, see him, maybe Kevin Owens. They had a great feud for the IC title.
Oh, that
was great. So I would love to see him. I would love to see them feud again. So
that would be a good match. That was a great feud. That's when I started getting into it too.
Yeah.
The Kevin Owens Dean Ambrose feud was great.
Yeah, I think they should, since they're all about recycling, going back to the well, go back to that well because it worked.
Absolutely.
So do that, because I don't want to just see him feud with either Reigns or Rollins. or both at the same time. All the time. I want to see him with other people. So
yeah, there's no really upper tier guy. I think Owens should be a upper tier guy, and so I think that would help give him a push. There are other guys who people love that could be an upper tier, but not right now. They need I think like Zayn and some others need to wait at least 1 year, so that this Shield thing is done.
Yeah.
People can move on to something else.
Okay. So without further ado, why don't we go ahead and jump right into our WWE mock drafts?
WWE mock draft. That's probably.
Yeah, this is some kind of we're not gonna be predicting who we think will be going or anything. We're just gonna be.
This is who we think.
Yeah, this is who we would pick if we were Shane
Yes.
or Stephanie, or if us ourselves were.
Yes.
The Raw and SmackDown GMs.
We are the commissioners. What are they called? They're not the commissioners now?
I don't know. Yeah, I think they're commissioners or general manager. I don't know.
It's not general manager.
I can't remember. I think it's commissioners. What they're calling them.
Well, who would you pick for your general manager? Because they have to pick someone. News is circulating that certain people are going to be their GMs. But who would you pick? So, we haven't said this, but Caleb is going to be picking for SmackDown. He's going to be Shane O'Mac incarnate, and I'm going to be Steph McMahon. I do not look as like Steph McMahon, so that's okay. But I'm going to be picking for Raw.
He's gonna go first since he's the elder statesman and he's the chairman of Raw, I guess.
You just said him over. So as far as my general manager, I know who at least we think we know who Shane has picked. I personally would love to see. I think the rumors is Shano picked. Brain is not working. The GOAT.
Daniel
Bryan. Yeah,
Okay.
Sorry, man. The rumors is that Shane has picked Daniel Bryan.
That'd be cool.
Which would be great. I was hoping maybe he would go to NXT and be that guy that people lean on.
That would have been sweet. That would have been cool.
But
I don't know. He's doing the commentating, I think, for the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yep.
So that's really cool. I'm glad to see him still involved with WWE. So.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the Cruiserweight stuff, but I can't wait to watch it. But yeah, it sounds like Shane has picked him. I'm assuming that Steph is going to pick her husband, Triple H, as the GM.
Yeah, because he hasn't been around for a long time.
I would rather him just stick with NXT, let him run NXT, because NXT is the best thing that WWE has going for them right now, in my opinion. Anyway, as for Raw as general manager, I would pick Paul Heyman because there needs to be a voice like Paul Heyman in there, especially if Dean is on SmackDown. Dean Ambrose is on SmackDown and other stuff. But anyway, how are we going to do this? We're going to say Raw goes first, SmackDown goes second?
Yeah. I think that'll be good. So, we have our red and blue Sharpies. Red for Raw, blue for SmackDown, so we can...
are we only going 10 in?
Right down. So, we're going to do 10 picks each. You want to do 10 from the singles, and then 5 for women's, and then 5 tag team? Or?
Sure, that sounds good.
All right, cool.
All right, for singles, I think here's the deal. Raw is a juggernaut. It's pretty much destroying SmackDown, and so I don't think Raw needs as much star power. So I don't think Raw needs guys like The Miz or like Roman Reigns and stuff like that. So for me, I would think you start young.
Okay.
And I think for the number one pick overall, I would actually probably pick The Miz because of the Intercontinental Championship and everything it entails. All the younger guys, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, are going after the Intercontinental Championship. And so for me, I would pick The Miz. We're saying this also because I don't think I would love for the titles to float over both shows, but they're not going to. They're not going to do that. And so that's why I picked The Miz. Intercontinental Championship is one of the most prestigious championships there is, and The Miz has that personality that could not carry Raw, but it could help Raw.
Okay, well, I'm picking for SmackDown first, and as my general manager, even though they already did this, he was the Raw general manager for the Sheriff of Raw back in 2004, and that is the Texas Rattlesnake Stone Cold Steve Austin himself. So he would be my SmackDown GM or Sheriff, as you will.
And that would get people to watch.
And it would get people to watch
Stone
SmackDown,
Cold,
exactly.
Someone like a name like Stone Cold. I honestly don't think any other name outside of Stone Cold, even if they were to bring back Hulk Hogan, would carry that much weight in SmackDown. Yeah. People would watch.
People would watch SmackDown at that. And along with that note, exactly, I think you want to get it. You want to turn SmackDown into a juggernaut just like Raw. Then you got to go big or go home. So I'm going to be picking the WWE champion Dean Ambrose. The first pick SmackDown?
Yep, because he will be champion still. And I think he might even go... Here's the thing. They will pick... Whoever SmackDown picks will be the champion coming out of Battlegrounds.
Okay.
That's what I think. So I think you're right. Okay, for the second pick, I picked the Miz for the first pick. Second pick, man, looking at this list, I am going to go ahead and pick my man Kevin Owens. I think he needs to be Intercontinental Champion. That's my personal opinion. Anyway.
Well, yeah, you always hear him yell at people. That's my title. So,
yeah, the master of headlock.
I'm the master of the headlock.
That was awesome. Canadian, who we all know and love, Kevin Owens. Number 2.
Now this is tough for me. Thinking about thinking who to pick. Do I want to take Roman? Do I want to take Dolph Ziggler? Do I want to take somebody? This guy has been over with me ever since he came into the WWE 6 months ago. I'm going to take the phenomenal one, AJ Styles.
And that would make sense. Give him the push for WWE champion. Yes. There are theories and rumors that they're probably going to do 2 championships for both. I hate that idea, but
me too. I think that they should. I like your idea of floating the titles, having the champions be sort of free agents between the 2 brands. I think that's a cool idea. But it's been my bold prediction since May that AJ Styles is going to win the 2017 Royal Rumble. That's my bold prediction for next year's WWE event. So I'm taking AJ.
Cool. I would love to pick number 3. I would love to pick Neville, but I think what'll happen is Neville will enter the Cruiserweight Championship battle because the dude is amazing. Dude is an amazing wrestler, and he deserves to be Cruiserweight champion. But I also think that they're going to take the Cruiserweight and put it on SmackDown for the fact that it's a draw. People love the idea of Cruiserweights, and the people that they brought in to see the Cruiserweight Championship title, people are going to watch that. And so even though it pains me not to take Neville, I'm not going to take Neville. But who I will take is because I think it will be the other championship on Raw would be Rusev. I think the U.S. Championship will be on Raw because it needs to be. I don't think the Cruiserweight Championship needs as big a push as the United States Championship does. So that's my thought on that. And Rusev's amazing.
All right. I kind of did my whole spiel about him earlier. I'm a big fan of him. Without further ado, I'm going to take the man, the Viper, Randy Orton.
You can have him. Because I honestly think the same thing that SmackDown needs Randy Orton.
Yeah, I think it'll help bring more star power to that.
For my 4th pick, I picked Sami Zayn. I would love to have picked him number 1 because Sami Zayn is one of the greatest wrestlers I have ever seen.
He's super talented. I like him a lot.
I don't know what's going to happen after Battleground with Owens and Zayn. 2 things I would love. 1, I would love them to form a tag team. I think that would be awesome. And keep the feud. Keep them hating each other, but just have to be a tag team.
That'd be fun.
The second thing, I would love to see Sami Zayn and Dean Ambrose tag up. their stuff on Raw and SmackDown
Their banter back and forth
was
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And if anything, go ahead and make a Canadian stable and just put those two together with Chris Jericho, and it would be amazing.
It would.
I honestly think, and this is going on to some other stuff. We don't have really much time with it, but I think they need to have a 3-man tag team championship. I've always thought that, and that would make that a possibility. So would a couple other things, but anyway, don't want to go into that.
All right. You know, you need a heel, or you need somebody who could actually, maybe even do both. Be a heel or babyface. I'm gonna take the best in the world at what he does. I'm gonna take the stupid idiot, Chris Jericho. Y2J, if you're listening, buddy, which is very, very unlikely. I'm just quoting you. I'm not calling you a stupid idiot. I love you, buddy.
But seriously, you're a stupid idiot. No, I'm just kidding. I love
Get it up!
Get it up! Man, I didn't even think about having heels, but I got 3 heels actually on my.
Yeah.
Man, I need to start picking faces.
You got
Holy
KO,
cow!
you got
All right.
Rusev.
I'll pick a face.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder, man.
Way to go! Woo woo woo!
I think they bring up, they'll bring up Mojo Rollins pretty quick. I think they become a tag team, and I think everybody will love it.
Cool. That was tough for me. Oh man. You know what? I think I'm going to take the show off Dolph Ziggler.
Man, I was gonna pick him next. To be honest, I think he needs to be on where everybody else is with my list, but that's okay because I'm gonna pick someone who's not on this list because it is inevitable that Finn Balor will be
Surprise draft.
Yeah, I think Finn Balor will be on this in this draft by a lot of stuff that has happened in NXT. So anyway, I pick Finn Balor because he deserves to be on Raw. He deserves a call up. It's 5. So we need 5 more. Or you're you want 5? No, that was 6.
Yeah, that was your 6.
Sorry,
yeah.
6. My bad. 6 pick.
I just crossed out
Finn
Ryback and put Finn.
Oh,
mine
good. Yeah.
Because he's probably not coming back.
Yeah, Ryback's not coming back.
That's his Ryback's group.
Sneaking list.
Let me think. Oh, this is tough.
Yeah, some of these people I don't even want to have on this list.
Man, I think I'm gonna take another heel. He's very good at in-ring work. He's really good at being a heel, but people like him a lot too. So I'm gonna take Alberto Del Rio.
You can have Alberto Del Rio because you're right. He is that guy. Okay, for my 7th pick, I'm picking Cesaro. I fell in love with Cesaro when he came back. The dude's funny. He's so weird,
and the crowd loves him.
And
they just love him.
So I needed a face in there, another face.
He dropped in the draft. He is the Aaron Rodgers, if you will, of my draft. I'm going to take the big dog, the Samoan BA. I'm going to take the guy, Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that's fine. Good deal. You take it. All right, so we got 7 down, 8. We're on number 8.
Yeah, you're 8th.
Man, this list is not a good list. I'm just after we get like a bunch taken off.
Yeah. It's hard. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and pick Big Show, mostly because there needs to be some guys who have been there for a long time on my draft because there's a lot of guys who have been there for 5 years and that's about it. 5 years or so, maybe more. Maybe Cesaro's been around more. I don't remember.
Okay. I hate to do this because I don't like him, but I'm gonna take Seth Rollins. He's another good heel, and the dude's really good in the ring. I will give him that. I will never not give him that. So yeah, I'm gonna take Seth. As much as I hate that.
Then I will take Sheamus. I think he needs a push, and I think Raw could help him do that. Especially when he's or at least the last push or last thing they did with him is I hate the new blood people coming in, so let me beat you up. I think this is a perfect opportunity for him to beat up a lot of new blood.
Okay.
So this is the last one?
No, 9.
This is your 9.
This is my 9.
Okay.
And then your 10 will be after Man, this is hard. I really like him. He's a good competitor. He's pretty decent in the ring, and he just seems like a nice guy. Every time I see him smile, he just seems like a nice guy. I'm gonna take Apollo Crews. I like Apollo Crews.
Go for it. I think he needs that experienced people to wrestle with because he's not very experienced, in my opinion. Well, since he hasn't been picked, and this is my last pick, I am going to pick Neville. I think he belongs in the cruiserweight, and I think the cruiserweight will be on SmackDown because people will watch that. But Neville is an amazing wrestler, and he's going to come back soon, and I cannot wait.
Okay. Man, this is tough, man. This is really tough. Oh boy. You know, dang.
And so
SmackDown needs some star power, and he is the biggest star. I guess I will take John Cena.
Yep, someone needs to.
Someone needs to, and neither of us were. So
well, there you go. There's our top 10 picks. Just
draft and
draft that we did here before we forgot.
Yeah, and so now we'll move on to the women's division. We're
top
going to do 5. We're each going to take 5. So you mind if I go first this time?
Go for it.
Okay. I'm going to take this. She is not won a lot of matches, which is sad because she's a great in-ring competitor. She is a very good character. The crowd loves her, and I love her. I am going to marry her one day. I'm taking the Irish Lass kicker, Becky Lynch.
That's the reason why you wanted to go first, because you know I would pick Becky Lynch.
I knew you were going to take Becky Lynch too.
Oh,
no, it's going to be my storyline as Raw commissioner or SmackDown commissioner. We're going to get married. Yeah, that's going to be a story.
That makes sense. If you're listening, Becky Lynch, Kayla wants to marry you. Then I'll go with my what would have been my second pick. I'm picking Sasha Banks. Sasha is raw material. Her match, it's not on my top 5, but her match at WrestleMania with Charlotte and
the triple threat was really
triple
good,
threat match solidified the women's championship for me. She's great.
I think I will go ahead and I will take the women's championship the holder. I will take Charlotte. She's a really good heel. She's a lot like her dear old dad. Great at being a heel, but the crowd very, very split, very mixed opinion of her. Some of them love her, some of her hate her, and I think she's really, really good. And I feel like her time is coming. They're gonna put the belt on somebody else, but yeah. So for now, yeah, Charlotte. I'm taking Charlotte.
Okay. I'm gonna pick the best at what she does. She entertains the crowd, and she deserves a call up. I don't think she's going to be called up for the draft. I think she's going to wait. They're going to wait to show her at SummerSlam, or maybe even a little bit afterwards. But I'm going to pick Bayley. Bayley from NXT. She is one of the best wrestlers. She's one of my favorite wrestlers, female wrestlers right now.
She's really good. Her appearance on the Edge and Christian show was absolutely hilarious. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm gonna take her. You know what? No. You need her to complete the set with Rusev. So I think I'm gonna take Paige. I like Paige. It's really good because I could see her being a heel or a face. She's really good. The crowd loves her. And so yeah, Paige.
My third pick for the women's is also NXT. Alexa Bliss. Her and Bayley's last match on NXT was great. If you want a really good heel in the women's wrestling, Alexa Bliss is the best heel ever. Anyway, I love her. I think she's awesome. I think she's a great wrestler. She needs to be called up. She needs to be called up now.
Okay, I will take another heel. I will take Dana Brooke. She is Charlotte's sidekick,
protege,
whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it will happen, or if it's just something they're teasing at, but will never happen. But I think it maybe will. Dana Brooke will break off from Charlotte and turn face, and she'll join. And since Natalia's I don't know if Natalia's really a heel now, or
she is.
what.
I think she is.
But yeah, so I'm gonna take Dana Brooke because I see a lot of potential in her. Breaking off from Charlotte and then becoming a face, and then maybe flip flopping, or maybe even betraying Charlotte and becoming an even bigger heel, and then Charlotte turning face. So I'm gonna take Dana Brooke.
Okay. I am taking Zack Ryder's girlfriend, Emma. I like her. I think she's a good wrestler, and I think she can. I know she's got a back injury right now, but as soon as she comes back, I hope she comes back. I haven't heard otherwise. I think she'll be a great part of that. So that's my fourth pick in the women's division.
Okay. I'm gonna take Summer Rae. I like Summer.
I agree. Summer Rae is really good.
She's a great heel. She's really good. She's I'm trying to think of somebody to equate her to, but it's really hard. But she's just good. She's just really good at being a heel, and she's very, very good at being arrogant, and her character's really good. Her in ring work is not bad. So I'm gonna take Summer. So what is this, our last picks now?
Oh yeah. Well then I'm gonna go ahead and pick. I'm not picking Lana. I think it's a bad pick. She can stay with Rusev probably because she's a manager. I know she's not really actively wrestling. She did that one show or whatever, but I'm picking Natalya because I think she needs a break from all those fights with Becky Lynch.
Okay, and I will take Alicia Fox. I really like Alicia Fox.
She's so crazy.
I don't know what it is. I just really like Alicia Fox. I think she's really good at what she does. All right, and there's our picks for the women's division. And now we are going to be doing something that the WWE is not going to do. We are going to be doing tag teams as a separate division. So we're going to each be drafting 5 tag teams. So there are a lot less tag teams, so we're really going to be fighting to get good ones. So yes. I will let you go first.
Oh, what do you think? Then Enzo and Cass. That's what I'll pick. Enzo and Cass is maybe not the best tag team, but they're the most. You know what? No, I will let you have them because SmackDown needs them. I will let you.
I wasn't gonna take them. That's.
Well, you weren't gonna take them.
No,
okay.
I wasn't
at all. Then okay.
Well, I was gonna take them. There was my second pick. But,
okay. Then I'll take Enzo and Cass. I think they probably will end up on SmackDown because they're entertainment and people that'll draw the people to SmackDown. Yeah. That's me.
All right. My first tag team. I absolutely love these guys. They're besides Enzo and Cass, they're right up there with Enzo and Cass. That's my favorite tag team. They're high flyers. I'm gonna take the Samoan Twins, the Usos. I think they sort of echo the Hardy Boys being the high flying, crowd pleasing group. And I grew up. Hardy Boys are always going to be my favorite tag team, and they kind of remind me of them a little bit. But the crowd loves them. They're really, really good at what they do, and I can see them double super kick a guy or do Samoan drops and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I'm taking the Usos.
For my second pick, I'm picking the American Alpha. I'm picking American Alpha because they're coming up soon, and I think they get picked at the draft. And quite honestly, they might actually be my favorite tag team outside of the Hart Foundation. These guys, and
that is very high praise.
It is. I'm hoping, and it's probably not going to happen because I doubt it's going to happen, but I'm hoping that they get Kurt Angle. He would be perfect with this group as a mentor, and so I'm hoping that happens. If not, it's no big deal because American Alpha is actually really good. So I can't wait to see them in the main roster.
Well, my second pick, I'm going to be taking the tag team champions, the New Day. These guys are great on the mic. They're funny, and their in-ring work is very entertaining. The crowd loves them. Like when you hear the crowd goes wild. I'm taking the New Day because they are lots of fun.
Well, I will take for my third. I will take the Wyatt family. I love their gimmick. I hope this brand split helps their gimmick. They're not using them right. WWE, you're not using them right. I know you don't know what to do with them. But come on, man. It's about recycling again. These guys are similar to Raven's Flock. They're similar to the Undertaker in his I don't know what they're called.
Ministry of Darkness.
The Ministry of Darkness. They are similar to so many things that you've already done. And when I hear hear people say, "Oh, we don't know what to do with them," bull. You guys have done this idea before. Here's a hint. Bray knows what he's doing. Let him do it.
I agree. And on that note, I would, I see a lot of potential in the Ascension, but I'm taking them. They also are not being used right. I feel like they could be great, intimidating, scary heels, but they're just not using them right. So I would draft them. I would push them hard as big, scary, intimidating bad guys who wreak havoc on the tag team division. So that's what I would do.
Oh, it's funny. Ascension's twice on this list anyway.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's on the top and the bottom.
Oh, that's weird.
Anyway,
weird.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's another group that they don't know what to do with, and I think I'm not going to pick them yet, but I think the Vaudevillains fall in that same thing. I love the Vaudevillains. I think they're funny. I think it's great.
Really good.
But for me, for my fourth pick, I'm going to go with the Social Outcasts. They also need to be pushed, and I think this is another opportunity for them to have a 3-man tag team championship.
Mm-hmm. It's really hard for me to choose.
I dare you to pick the Shining Stars. Dare you? Nobody's gonna pick the Shining.
Nobody's gonna pick the Shining Stars. Nobody. I chose AJ Styles, and so I feel like I should pick the club, and I'm going to. But I would actually, break them away from each other. I would make AJ back into a face, and I would turn the club heel, and I would make them feud with Randy Orton. I feel like that would be a good.
That'd be a fun.
I feel like that would be a good boost to push them as big time heels, and it'd be a good boost to get Randy Orton back into back gaining some momentum. So that's what I would.
I agree. Which is sad because the club needs to be pushed too, but they're not going to be anytime soon, if at all, which is sad. So for my 5th pick, I was going to pick the Vaudevillains, but I forgot that there's another group on here because I think these two are funny together. And I think that WWE has hit something that they don't realize is awesome. I'm picking Breezango.
Breezango? Nice.
I know they're kind of more of a comedy group, but Tyler Breeze is actually a good wrestler. And Fandango's not half bad himself. And so why not? Not necessarily push them towards a tag team championship, but push them a little bit more because they're great. Anyway, that's me.
And with the final pick in our mock draft, I would take the Lucha Dragons. Just for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I would take Lucha Dragons just because, they're kind of Rey Mysterio, Ultimo Dragon type, style luchadors, but, they're something old made new, which I like, the high-flying luchador kind of thing. But
even though Sin Cara has been wrestling for a while. At least, I don't know, maybe it's not the same incarnation, but he was wrestling. He was in that, I don't remember what pay-per-view that was you had me watch. He was with Rey Mysterio.
Okay, that is our mock drafts. We wanted to, there's a lot of stuff on here, so we wanted to maybe condense it down just to 10, 5, 5, so. But, alright, and to close this out, we will now be going over our favorite matches and favorite moments from this year so far. Jeremy, you want to kick it off? Talk about some of your. What do you want to do first, moments or matches?
I don't have. I'm trying to think of moments.
Right.
All my moments involve the Intercontinental Championship. The Intercontinental Championship has been the greatest push. That card has the greatest card of wrestlers right now. I'm saddened that the U.S. Championship is not the same way. I'm saddened that A couple other things are not going that way. But the Intercontinental Championship has had so many amazing matches this year. It's not even funny. And so I won't go into that because most of you who are listening know what I'm talking about. But I think the Intercontinental Championship, this is the year of the Intercontinental Championship matches. Even with The Miz, I know some people hate The Miz being the Intercontinental Champion. I'm fine with it. I think he's a good actor. I think he's a great wrestler. I think he's a great personality. But that's one of my favorite moments in all of that. And also coming back into wrestling this year, NXT is my favorite thing about wrestling right now. There are some wrestlers on that they have that are not good, or they're not fun to watch. But there are those diamonds that they find, like all the people we've talked. Roman Reigns was in NXT. Seth Rollins was in NXT. Kevin Owens was in NXT. Sami Zayn. All these guys who are coming from something that I believe Triple H knows what he's doing. And so even though I don't like Triple H's character, he's a genius when it comes to this stuff. That he knows what he's doing. It is almost the second coming of WCW/ECW when I watch NXT. Yes, like I said, there are bad matches, but those are my two favorite things of this year. My two favorite moments. Anything to do with the Intercontinental Championship, the ladder matches, all of that stuff, and anything to do with NXT has been solid.
Yeah, I got a couple favorite moments I jotted down here. Just some little spots here and there that I really, really liked and just can't forget. One of them was the January 25th episode of Raw. The Rock made his comeback on WWE, and he laid the SmackDown on the New Day, and he engaged, and he still got it, man. Still got that charisma. The crowd still goes crazy for him. He's still great on the mic. He roasted New Day pretty good. That was a fun moment. The part that actually had you and me dying laughing that we were talking about was when he walks up to Miz, and he's like, "Hey, Miz, how you doing? Go park the Rock's truck," and he threw him his keys. That was hilarious. Another one I had is one we talked about earlier. Roman Reigns spearing Stephanie McMahon during his match with Triple H at WrestleMania.
It was out of nowhere and pretty. It was beautiful stuff.
It was good. I think that that was one of their hey, let's this will get the crowd, this will win the crowd over kind of to spear Stephanie because she's such a big heel. Another big one I had, AJ Styles making his debut Royal Rumble. People just went crazy for that, and Stone Cold, HBK, and Mick Foley coming out at WrestleMania and attacking League of Nations, and then Stone Cold giving stunners to the New Day. That was good. That was pretty fun. This next moment is one that you coined, the Dragon Ball Z moment, quote unquote, as you called it. This is one of the coolest things that we saw in any wrestling match this year.
Oh yeah.
That Payback, Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. AJ Styles going for a phenomenal forearm. Roman Reigns runs, jumps up, Superman punches him in midair. Total, like you said, Goku versus Vegeta, Dragon Ball Z type moment. It was really, really well done. Very timed. Very cool. Another thing I have 3 straight ones that involve Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho's feud. These moments were just too good not to put on here. I tried to pick just one, but I just decided to put on 3 because they were good. Dean Ambrose stealing Chris Jericho's jacket. He ambushed him in the dark during his entrance, and he put his jacket on and then tore it up. That was really funny. Yep. And then the introduction of the Ambrose Asylum talk show when he canceled the highlight reel and stuff. That was funny, and he had the pet plant Mitch. And the other one was when Dean Ambrose was in disguise and he had a fake beard on when they were Chris Jericho was doing a promo about the Asylum match, and Ambrose was dressed up as one of the crew guys, and then he walked up behind him in the cage and took the fake beard off and then hit him with dirty deeds. That was hilarious. And now my second favorite moment all year long was at Extreme Rules, Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. My second favorite moment all year, Roman Reigns spearing AJ Styles out of midair. very well timed, very well executed, very well done. It looked cool. It looked like it hurt. You know, it like I flipped out when I saw that when I first saw this match and when I saw that moment. I just was like, holy crap! He just speared him out of midair. Like it was very well done.
Yes, it was.
And then my favorite moment so far this year in WWE was Dean Ambrose cashing in on Seth Rollins. Hands down, best moment in WWE so far this year. I wanted to include Roman winning the title back from Triple H, but the crowd was booing him so hard and stuff that I'm just like, he was putting on a smile and I'm sure he enjoyed that moment, but the crowd not being into it and stuff, so it's kind of hard to put that on there because I didn't want anybody to misconstrue it as me.
Yeah, it wasn't
being happy.
Yeah, it wasn't a great match, but
he was being booed. But
yeah.
But the finish was good. I mean,
the finish was good, and now we have what we have.
Now we have
was it the guy, the man, and the dude?
Yeah, the man, the guy, and now
the man, the guy, and the dude.
And now Dean is the dude.
So if anything came out of that, that's what came out of it, and that's funny.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on to our top. Let's do top 5 matches.
Yeah, I have a lot more than that just because
there are a lot of matches.
There's a lot of good matches. So yeah, it'll be hard for me to choose, but I will definitely try.
We'll go back. We'll do this. You say your 5th pick.
Okay.
And I'll do my 5th pick. Or I'll do my 5th pick. You do your 5th pick because I know you need to break it down. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought we were doing top 5 matches. Sorry, Internet Land. Caleb's gonna have to think about this for a second, but I'll go ahead and start. This match, my fifth favorite match of 2016 thus far, is probably everybody's number 1 who watched it. I thought it was a very good match, and I could have watched these guys wrestle forever because they're 2 of the best talents that WWE has right now. But at NXT TakeOver Dallas, Zayn versus Nakamura was really good. These guys hit spots that were fun to watch. I love watching Zayn sell things. Even though it kind of looks a little bland at times, I enjoy watching him sell. And Nakamura, I've never seen him wrestle before. I may have seen him wrestle maybe once before this match. This guy is going to be amazing. I would love to see WWE pull him up. He needs to spend time in NXT and dominate NXT, and that's what he's going to do. Nakamura will win the championship from Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe will be called up, and Nakamura will reign in NXT for a while. The dude is fun to watch. He is crazy insane and awesome. So anyway, my 5th favorite match of all 2006 so far is the Zayn versus Nakamura match.
Right. Just as a quick honorable mention, the Money in the Bank ladder match from several weeks ago was very good. That was very good, very well done. But my number 5 match is one that a lot of people said was really good, but they were just like, it was a really, really good match, but not a lot of people talked about it for whatever reason. Fastlane, the main event, the triple threat between Roman, Dean, and Brock Lesnar. That was a really, really good match. I really liked the match. It was cool to see Roman and Dean team up to take out Lesnar, and then they would start fighting, and then Lesnar came back, so they had to take out Lesnar again, and then they start fighting again with, the other one turning on one, and then next time the other one turned on the other. So I really liked that match. The ending of it was really good. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. It was a really cool match. I just don't know what else to say other than that. It was just really, really well done.
My 4th favorite match of the year is Alexa Bliss versus Bayley at NXT a couple weeks ago. Reason why is there were so many spots in this match that I thought, I hope that person is okay. There was one hit on Bayley that Alexa Bliss had that I could not tell how in the world she pulled that punch. Like, I thought Bayley was hurt. There were so many other spots that if you watched a men's wrestling, you would be like, oh, that was a pretty good spot. This match had so many great spots that for women's wrestling, again, women's wrestling in WWE is the best right now, and they need to bring these two up to push it even harder now. So that's my fourth favorite match of the year.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out because I haven't seen that one because I really don't watch NXT. But I've been meaning to.
Sure.
The other day I asked you, because I really like Finn Balor, and I was like, what good matches should I watch that are really good? So
and my top one has Finn Balor in it.
Okay, cool.
And NXT is only an hour, so it's an hour out of your time
so that's
instead
not
of
good. Yeah.
So 2 or 3 hours like.
Yeah. All right. My fourth favorite match is one that a lot of people might have forgotten about. I honestly thought this was a hidden gem, to be honest with you. I really liked it. It was April 4th episode of Raw. It was the day after WrestleMania. It was the Fatal 4-Way match between AJ Styles, Cesaro, Chris Jericho, and Kevin Owens to determine the number one contender for the brand new champion Roman Reigns' title. It was very good. I don't know what else to say behind that. It was very, very good. AJ Styles, I think it was Kevin Owens, the guy that he delivered the phenomenal forearm to at the end of it to win. I could be misremembering that wrong because it's been a while since I've seen it, but it was a very, very good match. I really liked it a lot, and AJ Styles just I've been nothing but impressed with him since he came in. I probably saw him on TNA several times when I used to watch that and didn't even pay attention because I was such a big Sting fan. I was watching TNA for Sting. I probably saw him and didn't realize it. So
same way with me and him and Styles when he entered WCW, because it was right around WCW being acquired by McMahon that he came in, and so he really never had a chance in WCW to do anything. But I watched a couple of his matches on YouTube with that, and he was green, but still amazing.
Yeah, I looked at some of his stuff from New Japan on YouTube. I looked up some of his New Japan stuff. Those guys can wrestle. Those guys in New Japan. His matches, some of his matches I saw in New Japan were pretty good. So yeah, the Fatal 4-Way on April 4th Raw, dynamite match, awesome. So go check that out.
My third favorite match is the Reigns Styles at Payback. For many reasons we've already said. Styles, I believe, is a chameleon. I think that dude can wrestle anybody and can make them look good. And not only that, he can wrestle like that person so that it looks so good. Dude's amazing. I can't say anymore. I hope they don't. Hope WWE uses him well. I think they have used him relatively well so far to make people look good. I think he's in that part in his career because people know him from other places, that it's okay to come to WWE to kind of retire-ish type thing. Go make other people look good. Go do what you do well. Yeah. People are going to love whatever you do, even if you lose type situation. And so Reigns versus Styles at Payback was my favorite. The other one was good. The only reason why I put this one over Extreme Rules is because all the stuff they did before they started wrestling. I don't. That's not Extreme Rules to me. They should have got, again, hardcore rules. They should have got out all the weapons and started beating each other. But that's me. Their Payback one is a better match in my opinion. So that's my number 3.
My number 3, I don't know if this was on your list or not. I know you and me both loved this match. It was awesome. It was the 7-man ladder match from WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. Zack Ryder defeated Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, Stardust, The Miz, and Sin Cara. It was a very, very good match. I remember you, me, and Chris were watching. Chris is another buddy of ours. We all had huge smiles on our faces during this match because there were so many great moments. Seeing Sami Zayn jump through the ladder, literally jumping through the ladder and hitting Kevin Owens and doing that awesome butt powerbomb thing that he does when he jumps over, like, that's always crazy. Like, I was like, all right, go Sami Zayn, and then I was like, The Miz is gonna win it. What? No, that's Zack Ryder. Awesome, Zack Ryder won. It was a good match. It was very well done. It was a lot of fun to watch. It just, WrestleMania this year was kind of overblown, but it had the largest crowd in history, so it kind of needed to be overblown. And
yeah, they had the potential to do it, and so they needed to push.
And so this was a great match. I really loved it a lot. So that's my number 3.
And it is on my list because it's number 2. My second favorite match is the Intercontinental title match, ladder match at WrestleMania. It was the best. best match at WrestleMania this year.
Probably. Yeah.
It might have even. I mean, it's not my top match because my top match is a great match, but it's one of the best ladder matches I've ever seen, I've ever witnessed, and all those guys, even Sin Cara, all those guys put off all the spots. Thank you for entertaining the snot out of me, because it's not about my entertainment. You guys, you want to watch a match to make you respect wrestlers, and like we've said before, it's fake, it's scripted. Watch this match. You will see this match, and you will say, how did they walk the next day? The spot that Zayn did on Owens at the end, I thought Owens was dead.
Yeah, we all did. It was pretty gnarly.
I don't care if you think wrestling is fake or not. You watch this match, you will have respect for these guys and what they do. It may be silly to you, that's fine, but you know what? It's entertaining.
It is entertaining, and that's why. Yeah, that's why I love them. When we talked about what culture earlier, they have a lot of running jokes in their videos that are always very funny, and Guy Adam, he's the funniest guy, and he has this running joke where he's like, people are always like, wrestling's real. It's like, oh, neither is Harry Potter or Breaking Bad. Now screw off, like he's always, so it's like, yeah, I know it's not real. I'm not a kid. Like, I know that it's scripted. I know it's predetermined, but it's fun. It's fun.
But these guys put their bodies through so much stuff. So let's stop that conversation about wrestling being fake and realize that these guys put their bodies through things that I wouldn't ever want to put myself through. So thank you, Intercontinental title ladder match from WrestleMania, and those who took part, because it was amazing.
It was. And second favorite match. This match was a match we were kind of iffy on, just because we didn't know who to root for in this match, and we didn't know how it would be, but it ended up being the best match at the 2016 Royal Rumble, and it is the last man standing match for the Intercontinental title between Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens. As we were talking about earlier, I brought up that I'd love to see Dean Ambrose have another feud with Kevin Owens because they work so well together. They're both great on the stick, like they're both funny on the mic, like seriously, and they're both great in the ring. So, and this proved that, Dean, the way it ended, Dean Ambrose pushing Kevin Owens through two tables was ridiculously awesome. It was ridiculously awesome. What else can I say? Like, it was a really, really good match. I'm probably going to go home and watch it again, sitting here talking about it because it was so fun. And then both those guys, like 25 minutes later, 35 minutes later, were in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And, like we keep saying, we know it's scripted, but seriously, Kevin Owens still went through two tables. Like, he had to have been pretty stiff, so.
Oh, yeah.
And,
And I love how he acts. I can't remember if he did it in that one where he came. Did he come out limping?
Yeah, he came out. Him and Dean Ambrose both came out limping.
I love that. I love that
cool.
that they remember that, and it's funny. It's funny and it's awesome. Anyway, so that's your number two.
That was my number two.
My number one match. Before I say that, Caleb mentioned that his alternate, honorable mention, was the match he said. My honorable mention is the women's championship match, Fatal 3-Way at WrestleMania. There were some spots that were iffy, and there were some things that happened in that they weren't great. But three of the best women wrestlers in history, probably not. Medusa is probably the best women's wrestler in history. I say that because I've watched her lately in the 95 stuff, and she's amazing. These three are some of the best women wrestlers in all of history, and they put on a great show there at WrestleMania. Anyway, my top match of 2016 so far is the Neville Finn Balor match, March 2016 at NXT. It was basically kind of Neville's swan song versus Finn Balor's, hey, you're getting ready to be champion type thing. It was that match that they do on NXT where you know that someone is leaving or you know that they're getting ready to push somebody. that I believe this match took the entire time of NXT. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. This match was amazing. I was cold on Neville for a little bit. I thought, he just looks like a mouse. I don't like this guy. But this match solidified Neville in my heart. I love you, Neville. Anyway, I love watching you wrestle. I can't wait till you get back. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go search for it. Because apparently they've wrestled before. I need to go search those. But this is the match that solidified Neville and Finn Balor's place in wrestling for me. It is my favorite match of the year. That's my top number 1.
Cool. And for my top, I really struggled between these two matches that we've been talking about off and on throughout this whole thing. But the finish, like I was just talking about not that long ago to this match, my number 1 pick, my favorite match, what I think is the best match, was Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles at Extreme Rules. I almost put Payback, but for Roman to have such a very, very mixed, because it seemed like like the boos were getting less and less during his run with AJ Styles, and to come out to a very, very mixed reaction at Extreme Rules, and then when he speared AJ Styles out of midair, like I talked about, which is probably one of the coolest moves I've seen that made me cheer. And it's not like like AJ Styles was Triple H or Hulk Hogan, somebody that I never really liked. It was just that good of a move. It was that good of a spot that I just dug it, and it was just such a cool thing because I'd never seen somebody get speared out of midair like that. It was so rad.
It was great.
And so that's that ending is what made me pick this one over Payback. The one at Payback was almost was number 1. It was very good. You and me were both like started off kind of slow, but then that was just because they had to stop the match twice. Yeah. They were essentially wrestling 3 matches.
Yep.
But that one was really, really good too. Like that one was amazing. But just because of the finish and when Roman speared AJ out of midair and then pinned him for the 1, 2, 3, the crowd exploded. Like they loved it. Like there were no boos. Like they were cheering like crazy, and he won over that crowd at Extreme Rules. And him and AJ worked really, really well together. I would love to see them work together some other time. It was just really, really good. I loved that match. It was awesome. So that is my number 1 Extreme Rules main event: Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. And well, folks, I think that's going to do it probably for our first time, very first episode of the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast of Worldwide Wrestling. Try to say that 5 times fast. I don't know if we're going to be doing this every week or every other week, but we'll figure it out, try to get it on a good schedule. And we're almost it's almost 2 hours now, so in future episodes maybe we'll try to keep it to under 90 minutes maybe.
Yeah, but for our first, we had a lot on our mind.
Yeah.
And for our first one, there was a lot of stuff coming up with the brand split. We wanted to get our top matches and stuff out there, so that's the reason why it's extra long. If you've reached this point and didn't realize that you can double speed this, go back and listen to it double speed, because you'll be able to understand what we're saying, and you get through quicker, probably about an hour.
Yeah. So we'll hopefully in the future we could keep these maybe under 90 minutes. But like you said, we had a lot to say, and a lot happened since the new year started, and a lot of good stuff, and a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of new stuff. So we will see you next time on episode 2 of the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast of Worldwide Wrestling. This is Caleb.
This is Jeremy.
Signing off.